Good morning. Today's message will come from the book of St. Luke chapter 2. Be reading to you verses 41 through 46, but I want to encourage you to go ahead and read to the end of St. Luke chapter 2. Verses 40, St. Luke chapter 2, verses 41 through 46. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the customs of feast. And when they had fulfilled the days, as they returned, the child Jesus tarried behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother knew not of it. But they, supposing him to have been in the company, went a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinfolks and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they returned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. I took our text today from verse 45. And when they had found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. I want to talk a little bit about the word found. You're not going to consider or say that you found something until you have determined that something have been lost. I don't know about you. I think I can say all of us probably at one time or another have lost something. And when you lose something, it takes a whole focus on life. When you lose something, whether it's small or big, when you lose something, it can really change you. It can cause you to fuss. It can cause you to get angry. It can cause you to go over the same track over and over again. It can cause you to sit down and ask yourself a question. Am I losing my mind? I know I just had it. I know it was here. There's nobody in the house with me. It may even be in my wallet. And sometimes I have to empty my whole wallet just to find one piece that I knew that was in there. Or even you ladies may have to dump your whole purse just to find something. And when you lose something, it will really make you think that you're going crazy. You go over that same path over and over again. You sit down. Let me think about it. I walked over there. I went here, and that's it. Oh, it has to be there. Maybe it's in the refrigerator. Maybe it's in another room. Maybe so you go that path over and over again, and you look for it, and you really get to a sense of mind. Now am I going crazy? Did I not have it? Did not? Yeah, it was right here. I know it can cause you to fuss, cause you to get upset, cause you to get angry. It can just change us totally. Have you ever lost something? Am I the only one guilty of losing something? And I go back and I trace myself and I get up, I go sit down. I'll go back and walk the same path. I'll go back to the same area. I even go alternate. I put a little extra area just to make sure. And you search and search, and then you finally have to sit down. Am I going crazy? I just don't know what's going on. How could I have lost it? I mean, where else could it be? And then you even ask yourself, I wonder if somebody else came in here. You begin to think that maybe somebody else came in. Well, no, you're the only one that was here. So it can literally run you crazy. That's when you lose something. And if you notice, I'm not going to talk about found, because when you find something, I don't think that you go back over again and say, look, this is where I found it. You sit down and you say, well, let me see. Well, what? Yeah, walk this way, walk that way. Hey, that's where I found it. So when you find something, it changes the whole demeanor. That when you find it, it brings about a smile. When you find it, it brings joy. When you find it, you say, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I wasn't crazy. I mean, so again, when you find something, it brings joy to your life. And this morning, I want to talk a little while, and I want to use for a subject this morning, have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. Have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. And this is what I want us to focus on this morning. It can surely bring out another side of us when we lose something. We as humans, we lose things all the time. We lose things all the time. This morning, I want you to put yourself in Mary and Joseph's shoes this morning. You read the text this morning. They had gone days. They had been on a 3-day journey. And they had gone day and then finally realized that they've lost their child. Can you imagine that? There's a story, and I think about it, even for myself. I've been in that situation before. I went down to the coast with my wife one time, and it was dark, and we were still at the coast. And we was in the water, and we was having fun, and all of a sudden, my wife was gone. She was gone, and I mean, I can tell you my life was changed within a second. The surroundings changed. I changed. The water changed. Everything around me changed within a second because my wife was gone just like that. I had lost her. I had lost her. And then all of a sudden, my wife, she came up. The waves had drawn her out. And then finally she came up, and boy, what a relief. What a relief. You know, even to think about that right now, it brings a sad feeling to my heart. It brings a weary feeling to me because I know how it felt at that time to lose that someone just for seconds. For seconds, my whole world, my whole life changed. That's why I think about the text today. Have I lost Jesus? I can't imagine anybody losing Jesus, what our life would be like losing Jesus for a second, losing Jesus for a minute or for a day. You know, and this is where there's a story I want to preach on today. We as humans, we lose things all the time. But one thing we cannot lose, we can never lose Jesus in our lives. There's a story we'll preach to you from a day about losing something. As we look back and we look about the things, talk about the things that we have lost, what about losing a person? You know, we lose personal things. We lose our keys all the time, probably. We lay things around. But can you imagine losing a person? You know, as I said earlier, we had gone on a trip one time on a conference, and at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, we all go for a walk, and we go just walking, and we come back to our hotel, and we're on our way back to the hotel. It was 20 people. We ended up with 19 people. Well, we had lost Leroy. Well, where's Leroy? Where's the last time Leroy was at? Well, we don't know. The last place Leroy was at was probably 10 blocks back. So finally, we all turn around and we go back to the exact place where we was at. And there we found Leroy. And Leroy was sitting right there eating chicken. He wasn't lost. He was just taking care of Leroy. And that's why I say today, a lot of times, I want you to really think about what I said. A lot of times when we lose things in life, and we sit down and we beat ourselves up and we worry ourselves and we wonder where could it be. A lot of times, how many of y'all have found out that it's right there in front of you? Right there in front of you. So many times in my life, I'll go and get my wife. Mary, can you come help me? I know it's right here, honey. I can't see. Maybe my glasses. And my wife can come right there, and there's that item right there in front of me. You know, a lot of times we lose things. We're looking for it in the wrong places and not to realize, oh, I did go there. I remember going over there to get some water. I do remember going to sit something down. But a lot of times it's right there where we lost it. And that's why I hope and pray at the end of this message today, you'll get a thought out of being right there where you lost it. This morning, our text in St. Luke chapter 2, verses 41 through 46. I read the text to you. It's 3 days they had journeyed, and after a day or so, they found out that Jesus was missing. Jesus was lost. Well, they said, well, maybe he's back there with the kinfolks. Maybe he's back there with the relatives. But in searching and inquiring, Jesus was not with them. Our sermon text today is where we come to, have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. I like this text to let us know that a lot of times we as a people, sometimes God's people want to elevate themselves. A lot of times they want to exempt themselves. A lot of times, you know, I don't go through these things. You know, I've always been right. I've been a child of God. I'm blessed and highly favored, and all those things, you know. And with that being said, I don't want them to be guilty of believing that you can't go through things in life. You know, just because you've been knowing Jesus for many years, just because we go to church, just because we read our Bibles, just because we have our personal time with God, doesn't mean that we're going to go through things. So the message today is telling us, asking you, have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. If the parents lost Jesus, you certainly can lose Jesus yourself. So I say to you today, make no mistake about it, all of us at one time or another have lost Jesus. Make no mistake about it. All of us at one time or another have lost Jesus. And if someone say, I swayed away, I went here. Well, think about it. All of us at one time or another have lost Jesus. Mary and Joseph did as well. Very strong text today, because we live in a life where people think they have it together. We live in a life where people think, you know, hey, I dress like a Christian, I talk like a Christian, and it doesn't always mean that I'm a Christian. As you heard me say, you know, walk like a Christian, talk like a Christian. But you notice I left one thing out. You didn't hear me say act like a Christian. Christian is in our ways, in our walks, in our acts, and what we do. I stop today and let you know we live among people that feel that they are tight with God. We walk today, we live in a world today where people feel that they got everything together with God. All I'm doing is just waiting for God to call me home. My life is together. We live in a life where we constantly hear that I'm blessed and highly favored. Well, I stopped by today to church to let you know that Mary and Joseph made a mistake, and so can we. I stopped by today to let you know today, church, that I want to remind you that God has no respectable person. Yes, we are all loved by God. Yes, we are all blessed by God. Yes, we all love following God, and we love following Him, but sometimes we run short and we forget to follow Him all the way. Not only forget, but sometimes we get off track. We lose our way, just like the sermon say, have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. And I'm not talking about just to you out there. I'm talking from the pulpit to the parking lot. I'm talking out into the world. We all at one time or another have lost Jesus in our lives. We all at one time or another have forgotten about Jesus. Even his mother and father did. That's why this sermon should be easy to preach today, because we all know how it feels to lose something. Whether it be money, whether it be a car, whether it be a bill, whether it be a piece of paper, whatever it is, your keys, we know what it feels like to lose something. It can change us. It can change us in a moment. I said earlier, it changed me in a second. It changed me within seconds. My whole life changed. My whole world changed. So we know how it feels to lose material things. We know how it feels to lose things. I'm not talking about debt, because debt is something that we prepare for. We know that this world is not our home. But I'm talking about to lose somebody. To lose somebody. You need to know today, church, it's happening all the time. I was reading this morning, where they looking for children that's missing. They looking for an innocent person who went to the mall and someone had kidnapped their child. Went to the park, just have a good time, and someone has kidnapped their child. You may not have experienced it personally, and I hope and pray you don't have to, but we are in a world where people are lost all the time. But I want to remind you today how easy it is for us to sometimes lose Jesus in our walks of life. But in losing Jesus, I need to know, I'm giving you good news today. Have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. And I want you to mark this in your book. Mark this in your life. When you ask yourself that question, have I lost Jesus? Only you know if you have lost Jesus. Only you know where you have put Jesus. Only you know where Jesus is in your life today. But the question is, have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. Well, I stopped by today to give you some good news. He's at the same place you departed from. He's at the same place you left him. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. How easy it is to lose Jesus in our lives. To lose mean, and so I better go and look this up, because I just want to make sure, because half there may be one person, or be somebody in here that may say, I don't know what it feels. I haven't lost anything in life. I have never lost material things. I've never lost a person. But so just in case that person is here today, I want to just tell you what the Webster Dictionary say. The Webster Dictionary say to lose means to forget and not remember. To forget. How many of y'all have forgot something in your life? My wife told me to go the other day and get 3 things at the store. I came back with 1, forgot the other 2. Forget all the time. Forgetting is a part of our lives. Sometimes we forget, we don't remember. But as I said, one thing we can't do, we cannot forget about Jesus. I know I know I had it, but you think about it, I know I had it, but I just can't remember what I done when I had it, but I just can't remember the last place I placed it at. So, and when I say that, even with a sharp mind, it's easy to forget. And then remember, it says not remember. Sometimes we can be so overcome and so blessed, we forget that we don't even remember to thank God. We don't even remember to thank God for safe travel. We don't remember to thank God for healing us. Sometimes we don't remember to thank God for waking us up. Sometimes we don't even remember to thank God for those small things that we take for granted. So today, church, when you think about these things, you hear these things, have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. From the largest to the smallest thing, we can sometimes forget. I want to believe that none of us are guilty or are innocent of not forgetting. Sometimes we forget to, as I said, to even thank God for the many blessings. God give us so many blessings. Sometimes in my life, I look at my wife and I say, honey, we forgot to thank God for this. And she, you sure did. We sure did. We need to take time now. And it's not that we can be carried away, but the word says to forget or not remember. I just forgot that we need to stop and thank God. We need to thank God for the many. Sometimes we get to thinking for the many blessings He gives us from day to day. And so this is our message today. Have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. And I almost want to say, have I lost Jesus? Parents did. This morning, I don't want to take long, but this morning I want you to focus on losing your child. I want you to focus on losing your spouse. And I want you to focus on losing them for, I had seconds. I want you to think about losing them for 30 minutes. And I'm not talking about dying. I'm just talking about you out somewhere and all of a sudden you look, your child is gone. I can tell you now that feeling just saying that still stays in my heart. And then if you think about 30 minutes, then I want you to go ahead and extend your thought process to a day. Go ahead and extend your thought process to 2 days, because this is what Mary and Joseph did. And it's in the midst of that, they lost their child. Wonder how could, think about it, if they was in the world today, we would have many questions. How could you lose your child? How can you be so careless that you forget about your child? It happens all the time. It may not be careless. Jesus was just tearing behind, just walking back slow. And then Jesus went back to where he was at. How, in the world we live in, how can Mary and Joseph forget about Jesus? They only got one child. I can understand if they had 7. Think about it. Think about that. Doesn't that sound like child neglect to y'all? I mean, they must didn't want the child. They left the child there. Maybe they took the child and left him there. In the world today, you're guilty until proven innocent. Y'all heard that. In the world today that we live in, we're basically guilty until proven innocent. Many of you, many of us, like Joseph and Mary, might have said, hey, well, I bet you they killed that baby. I bet you they killed that baby. So here we all have, perhaps if someone might say it was for insurance. They have done something to that child Jesus in this world today. But I'm so thankful that this is left here for us example, so that we may understand and that we may be able to ask the question ourselves, have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. But remember earlier how we talked about losing something? The Bible says in verse 48, I believe, it says, and when I told you continue on down to verse 52, it said they sorrowfully looked for Jesus. Their heart was hurt. They was wondering, had something happened to Jesus? They was wondering about all those things. Because I know, because I've been there. When you lose someone, you think about where they at, what they're going through, what somebody is doing to them. Are they sleeping? Are they eating? All these things come into mind. So the Bible says that they had searched, they returned back sorrowfully, looking for Jesus, meaning their heart was hurt. And you think about that. As I said earlier, when you lose something, it changes how you feel. You can't eat right. You can't sleep right. It can make you sick. It can change your whole life. It can change the things around your life. This is why we are faced with so much, and I have to say today, church, this is why we're faced with so much violence. So much hatred. You can't read the newspaper. You can't look at TV. So much is going on in the world. The Bible says, think it's strange, not concerning these things which are to try you. As I got this message today, I thought about all these things that's going on in the world is because people have lost Jesus in their lives. They have lost Jesus, because when you lose Jesus, your steps are no longer ordered by the Lord. When you lose Jesus, you're no longer anchored in the Lord. You go to places that wasn't going. You do things that you wasn't doing. So it's a very strong message today to let us know that we have to question ourselves, have we lost Jesus? And what a change. What a change. What a blessing God will be unto you when you repent and go back to Jesus. Think about it, church. Mary and Joseph, they lost their child. They didn't keep going. They didn't say he'll catch up with us later. They didn't say, he got to be someone. They returned back to search for their child. What a blessing it is to see, make no mistake about it, and to go back and return and find their child. And the good thing about it, church, not only then, but also now, Jesus have never been lost. Jesus isn't lost today. Perhaps you have forgotten about him, or perhaps you can't remember what God has done in your life or where he is in your life. But I have the answer for you today. As I said earlier, he's in the same place you departed from. Whatever you left him to do, whatever you left Jesus to do in your life, he's still in that same place. That same loving manner that you left him in, for whatever reason, he is still standing out there with his hands stretched out to you, ready to say unto you, welcome back, my child. welcome back. I stopped by today to let you know, church, whatever reason you ventured out into the world, whomever you sought out to seek, whatever you sought out to try, Jesus, he's in that still same loving position, extending his arms out to you, saying, welcome back, my child. Welcome home, my child. Now notice y'all didn't hear me say, he's not saying, I'm home, my child. I'm home, my child. But he said, welcome, my child. Welcome home, my child, because Jesus never left. We leave, we walk away, we wander off, we stray away, we leave, but Jesus never leaves. He is the same today, yesterday, and forever. That's why we sing that song, Amazing Grace. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Church, I pray and trust to you today that you are walking and talking with Jesus on a daily basis. Not only on a daily basis, but as children of God, we can't allow ourselves to be like the world and putting Jesus up until we need something. See, a lot of times people want to put Jesus on the shelf. They want to put him in the closet. They want to put him under things. They want to cover him up. We can't be like that. Our lives is not so good that we can put Jesus up until we need something or until we need him to do something for us. We must keep Jesus out and ready in our life on a daily basis. Understanding the more we do without him, the more we keep putting him up on the shelves until sickness, till finance problems, until trials and tribulation gets our attention, we will find ourselves pushing him farther and farther back and not realizing that before long we have pushed him back so far that we can't find him. And we come to our sermon text asking ourselves, have I lost Jesus? Where did I put him? Have I lost Jesus? Where is he at? Mary and Joseph did. Church, in the world that we live in today, if we can't risk a second, a minute, an hour, especially days without Jesus, we must daily make sure we have Jesus on our side. Or as the song says, we must hold on to his unchanging hand. Not on the weekend, not on Sundays, not on Wednesday night. We have to hold on to Jesus' a hand every day of the day. Not only during trials and tribulation, not only during storms, we have to daily hold on to his unchanging hand. We can't afford to lose Jesus on this Christian journey. We can't afford to. But I know and I hope you see and understand today that just as Mary and Joseph lost Jesus, so can we. We are capable of losing Jesus if we don't keep our hand in Jesus' hand. But thanks be unto God that we can do the same thing that Mary and Joseph did. What did they do? What did they do? After days, they returned and found Jesus. And it's good news. It's a joy today to know that no matter how long you've lost Jesus, matter how long you've been without Jesus, no matter how long or what you've been going through, it's joy to know that you can return back. Jesus is ready, and he has his arms ready to welcome you back. It's good news of joy to know, or perhaps, the devil may have told you, you've been lost so long, there's no need for you to even go back and try to find Jesus. I got you on my side. You've been working for me so long. You've been doing all these things for me. You become a specialist in my field. You can never go back and find Jesus. Well, I stopped by today to let you know that our sermon text today reminds you and reassures you that you can be just like Mary and Joseph. Regardless how long it's been since you have been lost, you can return and find Jesus right where you left him from. Regardless what you went out to search, regardless what you went out to experiment, regardless what separated you from you and your God, I stopped by today to tell you today that you can return and find Jesus right where you left him. If we need to forget, just in case, I want to leave this with you today. If you need to forget or lose something in your life, it is the things that cause you to wander off, to try out, to experiment with. Those are the things that you need to lose, to never go and research and return back to again. Anything that caused you to lose your interest or separate you from following God, these are the things that we can lose today. And I encourage you to never go back and try to find them again. And the good news I leave with you today in closing, You can. The Bible, I think you can return and find Jesus, Mary, and Joseph did. My sermon text started out with these words: Have I lost Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. And I close with this: Can I find Jesus? Mary and Joseph did. And they found him right where they left him. Just where I said, Mary, can you come help me? There it is, right where I left him. And the same thing can you do with Jesus. He's right where you left him from. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. I pray and trust that God's words have been uplifted to you today. I pray and trust that you'll hide them in your heart. I pray and trust you'll be like that song, Amazing Grace. I once was lost, but now I found. What a joy to find what was lost. What a joy to find. Can you imagine a child, that parent that haven't seen their child in months and days and years, to finally say, we're on our way. We have found your child. What a joy. What a joy. I pray and trust that God, joy is bestowed in you today, and knowing that Jesus was never lost. He's welcoming you back, and know that he's the same right where you left him. Same loving power, same loving forgiveness, ready to get you back on track again. Welcome home, my child. Welcome home. God bless you this day.